I'm Jidda Tracy, and I want to talk to you today about overwhelm and living with multiple sclerosis. As women, overwhelm is a human condition in general, but add to that a layer of MS, and things can just seem so much more intense and more difficult, right? So, how do we navigate that? How do we move to a place where we can manage the energy and the overwhelm and still have a fulfilling and joyous life? Now, I'll tell you, back in the beginning when I was diagnosed with MS, that was really tough. I felt completely overwhelmed, and it had me by the skinnies, it was tough. And so when we're navigating those waters, there's really only so many things that we can do to manage it. And one of the things that I've discovered, and this is something I actually learned thankfully before I started living with MS 10 years ago, was about taking micro actions. So, what does that mean? What it means is that often in life, uh, when you're used to operating in a certain way before MS, right? Like I was working 12-hour days. I was at the peak of my career, right? Things were really happening for me. And then I was on a 3-day speaking tour. And by the end of it, the truth is that I could barely walk, I could barely write, and I could barely smile. So I had a massive MS relapse that really took me out. And since then, I've been living with fatigue from the time I get up in the morning till the time I go to bed at night. So you can imagine, like when you have MS symptoms, fatigue, brain fog, um, any other issues that may arise, mobility issues, everything takes energy and everything takes time. And, the fact is, we can't carry on the same way. I tried, it did not work. I ended up in bed and thought I'd never work again, right? So that way of operating in the world just really doesn't cut the mustard. And so when we talk about micro actions, first of all, it's identifying what are the key priorities for you. When you can really pinpoint a couple of areas in your life that are essentially important. And I'm not talking about just essentially important in terms of, yes, you've got to eat, but up here psychologically, what's important to you? Is the priority diet? Is the priority sleep and restoration? Is the priority exercise? Like if you were to pick one of those three, what might that be for you? Or maybe it's that you're feeling lonely and isolated and it's connection. So starting with that and picking one of those areas in your life to focus on and asking yourself, where are you at in that area right now? So if I were to pick, let's just say, connection, and I reflect on that and I say, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low and 10 being high, where am I at on that scale right now? So, you check in with yourself and maybe you're at a 2, maybe you're at a 5, maybe you're at a 7. And that's like the gauge, the starting place. And when you can determine that starting place, then you can ask yourself, well, okay, maybe right now connection wise I'm only at a 3, and ask yourself, well, what could be one tiny little step, right? One little micro action that you could take towards moving that connection up the scale so that you can have what you want, which is a deeper connection with people. The same would apply to exercise. Maybe you look at where you're at right now and you say, well, truthfully, I'm only at a 1 in terms of exercise. Well, the good news about that is if you're low on the scale out of 10, 1 versus 10, and you're at a 1 or a 2 in terms of exercise, there's lots of opportunity for you to experience improvement, right? So with exercise, you could say to yourself, well, at 1 on the scale right now, what could I do? What would be the first action, micro action I could do? And it might be just depending on your mobility, right? If you're using a walking stick or a cane or a walker, it might be just walking down the street and back. I know women that they have set as their first micro action, walking to their mailbox, which is just down the street and back, because a lot of people have mailboxes that are not necessarily at their door, depending on where they're living. So those are a couple examples of micro actions. Now here's the thing is it's great to have a micro action, but there's the other part of committing to it, right? So having a time of day that is best for you, looking at, well, is the morning best, is around lunchtime or afternoon, and actually picking a time. So if mornings are better for you, then great. Maybe you pick a time, you say, well, after I've had my breakfast, that's when I'm going to take this action. Without having that time in place, it's very, very hard to succeed at a micro action. When you can actually visualize yourself doing that activity, then that helps as well. And setting a realistic amount of out of a realistic amount of days. Maybe at the beginning with that micro action, because these are really, really small, so you can be successful. It's simply the one thing, which is very basic. Just doing it once a week and saying, okay, on Tuesday, I'm going to do it at 9 o'clock. I'm going to get my shoes on and I'm going to get my walker or my cane, or if you're able to walk without an assisted device, you're going to get out, or your walking bike like the A-Linker, which is amazing. You're going to get out there and you're going to do that one action. And that's it. The thing is, where I think we fail is that our expectations are not realistic. They're not obtainable, they're not specific, they're not measurable. And then what happens? You feel crappy, right? You feel crappy about yourself because it didn't happen. You couldn't do it. It was too hard. So when you're setting a goal, when you're measuring yourself around a quality, whether it be exercise or diet, or as I said, connection or rest and restoration, having some resting time, then you want to set that first goal very, very small, realistic and obtainable. That is the key. Now, here's the other piece is that once you've set it and you start doing it, that's great. But just suppose that something gets in the way, right? Maybe you have a day where you don't feel as well on a Tuesday, so it doesn't happen. Or maybe something else happens where you get a phone call and then you don't get to it, right? And these are the things that can get in the way in life. This is what stops us. So even though it's like, yeah, I can do this goal, it's really small. I'm just going to walk to the mailbox and back using my walker. Um, it's about the consistency of the goal where the success comes in. So when you do it the first time, it's like, yay, high five. Great, right? And then it's like continuing to do it. And then it's about ensuring that it becomes what I call a habit system, where it's consistent and you're doing it regularly. That is the key. Now, I just want to share with you that I have created a membership for women, a membership for women to connect and discover how to live life better with MS called We Thrive under the Women Thriving with MS umbrella. Now, this membership is kicking off next week, next Tuesday, and we're going to have our big kickoff celebration. And you still have time to sign up if that's something that you like. So if you're a woman living with MS, you've been living with MS for 3 years or more, you're in that place in your life where you've had to retire early, or maybe you're volunteering or working part-time, so you have time to do the membership, but you want to have support and connection in your life, this membership might be perfect for you. So it's called We Thrive, and it's about setting these, assessing your life using what I call the We Thrive Wheel of Life, and then determining which area you want to focus on, and then looking at what little micro action you might like to take, and having the support of a community of women that live with MS. In fact, you'll be matched with a buddy every 6 weeks. So you'll have someone to encourage you and you'll have someone to encourage along. And we'll have virtual gatherings. It's all done online. And that will be how it is. And there is what I call a success path that I'm going to take you on. And it all starts with connecting with members in this community and then embarking upon the journey. That's the really the beginning of this process. So if you're looking for a support system, a structure that you can have in place, this is going to be something that's going to be beneficial, because as we know that when we're no longer working full time or not working at all or have retired early because of multiple sclerosis, the fact is that we lose our structure. And when you lose that structure, that routine, it can really, really throw you off. And I know of women that just really have had such a difficult time getting back to creating that structure in their life in a way that really supports managing their energy, managing overwhelm. And so this membership is going to be giving you that. And I'll be your guide on this journey, and you will be the hero of this journey. And by the way, I haven't really said, if this is the first time you're coming here and seeing me live, my name is Jen DeTracy. Jen and DeTracy. Some people call me Tracy because my last name's DeTracy. And I had to figure this out for myself. I was at the peak of my career, as I mentioned earlier, and my life came tumbling down, and I didn't know what my life was going to look like. It took me about 5 years to create the structure that worked for me as a woman who lives with fatigue all the time, and be able to have a joyous and fulfilling life. And it was hard. There was a lot of falling down psychologically, right? So when our mindset, as I call it, the penthouse suite up here, right here, when we're feeling better about ourselves, when we are able to have more confidence and more self-esteem, and we're able to reduce overwhelm, and we're able to increase our energy because we're managing what we do better, and working that all out in terms of doing less, then life can be good. But I don't think I would have been able to be on this journey and be where I'm at without having support behind me along the way. And the fact is, excuse me, the fact is that even if you have a loved one in your life, or a family, or a good friend, if they don't live with multiple sclerosis, they can't really put themselves completely in your shoes. And that's another reason why I wanted to create the weTHRIVE membership for women living with MS to live life better, is because this is a place where people get it. Maybe not completely, because what I may be able to do and not do may be different than what you can do and not do. So we're all going to be at varying levels of ability. But you have a general understanding of the challenges of what it's like to live with multiple sclerosis. And that, I think, makes a huge difference. So we're going to actually be having an information session on this to answer questions around the membership. And that's going to be happening on Tuesday, uh, April 27th at noon Eastern Standard Time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some information in the comments below, and that way you'll have a link, number one, to the membership, and also I will give you a place where you can access the information about the information session if that interests you. Okay, so that's all I have to say for today. And I just want to wish you well as you're on this journey. If you have come here to my channel for the first time, Women Thriving with MS, be sure to press that subscribe button so you can be notified about other videos as I do them. And it's such a great thing to have you here. Feel free to comment, like, and share. So peace to you. See you soon. Bye.